Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now September 8th of 2024, and given that multiple divisions over at the Walt Disney Company are going through various setbacks as we speak, some of which, by the way, are really trying to string on to survive by Bob Iger's ongoing deliberate agenda, his ongoing ideology, if you will, everything related to diversity, equity, and inclusion over proper storytelling and proper character development. As it only begins to get worse, they are already in the process of hiring a new DEI supervisor / manager that will be paid $200,000 a year. Alright, just let that sink in for a moment there. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. So, we know that they typically hire the wrong people to take on these jobs. I mean, you got people out there like Brie Larson, Tatiana Maslany, Rachel Zegler, which by the way is the main subject in this post, because these are the type of actresses that are very much self-absorbed, very much inflammatory. They believe that it's their way or the highway, and that's exactly what's been going on with the whole Zegler situation, but it only gets worse when it involves Jenna Ortega, who, by the way, has tried to be a saint behind the scenes over at the Walt Disney Company. Let's get into all of this. Now, one thing about the whole scenario happening right now between both Zegler and Ortega has a lot to do with this new Disney animated project, and we have a lot more to talk about this, by the way, because we will be learning more about this project that is fully meant to pretty much compete against DreamWorks' upcoming Shrek 5 film. Now, interestingly enough, Zegler is catching a lot of drama due to Snow White 2025, her way of promoting the film on social media, across all forms of social media. However, on top of this, with many divisions at the Walt Disney Company going through multiple challenges due to Bob Iger's deliberate agenda and his cost containment strategy, one major development going on right now has more to do with Zegler and Jenna Ortega, as drama between the two behind the scenes erupts yet again over an upcoming Disney project set to be announced this holiday season. Now, a crucial update to this situation now involves how Zegler recently had multiple heated arguments with Jenna Ortega, not just after Jenna raised her criticism over the use of gender swapping and race swapping by Disney films and how that should be cancelled, but also how Jenna Ortega also raised her criticism over Zegler's way of handling the promotion of Snow White. Now, one shocking turn of events is that originally both Zegler and Ortega were set to star in one new animated film for 2026 by Disney Pixar to be exact. Zegler was let go from this project some weeks ago after the criticism that sparked on social media about how she, of course, promoted Snow White. It turns out that Jenna Ortega was also offended by Zegler on how she incorporated real-world issues into the same post of promoting Snow White on X, and gave her what was reportedly constructive criticism at first that Zegler took in a very offensive and personal way, and that this is how the grudge all started right from the get-go in the first place between the two actresses. It wasn't until Jenna Ortega was getting ready to back out from Disney's new animated film because of their usage of gender swapping and race swapping for popular Disney characters that are set to return, and this sparked outrage from Rachel Zegler against Jenna Ortega. As of now, Zegler is still fired from the new animated film for 2026 that is supposed to compete against Shrek 5 by DreamWorks, and Ortega is trying to step down from this project unless Disney withdraws from their agenda, withdraws from their usage of gender swapping and race swapping, as some popular Disney characters are going to be both gender and race swapped in this film. And the character that Jenna was going to do voiceover work for was said to be a major female character from a popular Disney animated classic from decades ago, coming back with the race-swapping concept. Jenna was opposed to this, and Zegler had serious personal issues with that and felt betrayed by Jenna's beliefs. Now guys, let me just stop here for one moment before I move on. Now, I think what's happening here is that Rachel was thrilled to have a movie that she was going to co-star in with Jenna Ortega. Even though it wasn't going to be themselves on screen, they would be doing voiceover work in studio and really providing lines of dialogue. But at the same exact time, you have a scenario like this where, we've talked about this before by the way, Jenna wanted to make a major comeback at the Walt Disney Company because she has a history with them, and found herself in quite a pickle because basically she found everything the hard way, that they're all about an ideology now, they're all about an agenda, she's trying to negotiate, and after all, Ortega is a negotiator when it comes to her roles that she actually participates in when it comes to whatever she takes in the film industry, right? She chooses them very carefully, very wisely. And look, you could say anything about Beetlejuice. I think it has flaws. It isn't the greatest film out there, but it's a solid, okay film, as far as I see it. It's not terrible, or it's not god-awful, or anything like that, but it works. But I think at the same exact time, when you look at everything related to the ongoing situation between Zegler and Ortega, it is living proof that Zegler cannot take constructive criticism. If anyone gives her that, she views that as a very offensive thing or something very personal to her overall acting capability. Now, on top of that, Jenna, however, remains deeply offended by how terrible Zegler acted behind the scenes and her methods of promoting Snow White, while also refusing to take down the social media posts on X. Surprisingly, there were some moments between the two where Jenna warned Zegler to take down those posts, or else it's going to impact her career. So essentially, Jenna was trying to save Rachel. She was trying to save her career. She knew it was coming, and still, Zegler just pushed her to the wayside. Now, Rachel only saw this as a form of an attack from a co-star. This drama was unneeded by Disney also, which is why they let her go from this project that is codenamed Blue Wave. The meaning behind the codename is currently unknown at this time. However, it is planned to be a high-budget film from Pixar to save the division. Now look, we know that Pixar has been in a very troubled state. They had one major success in 2024. We have to really acknowledge that. It's proper to address that, and that is Inside Out 2. That was free of an agenda for the most part, and that's why it succeeded. Deadpool and Wolverine withdraw it, of course, from the overall agenda as well, and it succeeded. So you gotta realize that's the pattern. If you shift away from an ideology and you focus on art, if you focus on proper filmmaking, then you have a good product. Then you have a good story that's gonna draw in people to be entertained. And that's just how the overall industry works. That's why the whole ideology-driven projects, whether it's from Disney or Universal or any other major studio out there, they don't work anymore because people are growing very tiresome over that, and more people, by the way, are beginning to wake up to this nonsense. So again, this just goes to show you how crazy Zegler truly is, how self-absorbed of an actress she truly is, and she can take constructive criticism. She was deeply offended by Jenna's beliefs and her overall view of Disney's strategy of race swapping and gender swapping characters. She was even public about this recently, ironically, talking about how she thinks it would be terrible if they pursued projects from other studios like Jamie Bond instead of James Bond, for an example. She was just throwing that out there. She's against that whole ideology. So overall, I would like to hear what everyone has to say about all of this below in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.